The KUAM Care Force, along with our community partners, IP&E, Micronesia Renewable Energy Inc., are thinking green and gearing up for our annual Think Green cleanup on Saturday, April 28th. This year, we'll be cleaning our streets in East Agana to Paseo, beginning at 7 a.m. We're calling on teams, organizations, community groups, and you to join us and do your part to help clean up and green up our island. Let's do our part in making the island we call home a cleaner and more beautiful place. To register and for more information, please call 635-5836 or visit us on KUAM.com or any of our digital and social media platforms. In the spirit of thinking green, we encourage participants to bring their reusable water containers. Biodegradable trash bags and gloves will be provided. Special thanks to CS and Pepsi Guam Bottling.
The Good Life, all month long on the stations and networks of KUAM. Check the KUAM News app or KUAM.com for all program listings.
KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. Matson Navigation, serving Guam and Micronesia for 20 years. The all-new 2018 Kona by Hyundai, available at Cars Plus. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dededo. Always open, always local.
Straight ahead on your primetime news, could there be more victims? DOE leadership responds after a one-to-one aide has been accused of sexually molesting students. Plus, a fourth suspect is under arrest as authorities continue their investigation into those dealing the drug Spice. And federal officials gear up for the National Take Back Day initiative set for this weekend. Hafide, everybody, and good evening. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Education officials in our top story are in shock after hearing that their co-worker is being accused of sexually assaulting a pair of students at an elementary school.
The now former DOE worker is being held on a $25,000 cash bail. Now DOE leaders are working with the school students, staff, and the parents to provide any additional support needed. KUAM's Nick Delgado reports.
He was a one-to-one aide and now no longer with DOE.
We were very disturbed and disgusted by what we read.
As reported, 31-year-old Sean David Cruz is charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct as a first-degree felony with a special allegation of vulnerable victim, along with official misconduct and harassment. This after he allegedly forced himself onto a 7- and 8-year-old student during separate occasions at Upi Elementary School. The latest incident reported to the school just this past Monday. DOE Superintendent John Fernandez says an emergency meeting was held at the Jigo campus today.
A lot of them are really disappointed, disgusted at what seems to be the alleged acts of their fellow employee. So a lot of our folks are coming together and really communicating to let me know that they're also want to provide the same assurance to their kids that they're going to be safe in our schools.
Assurances and help for the victims and their parents.
We providing counseling services and trying to determine whether more counseling services are needed for not just the victims and their families, but also for the rest of the school community.
DOE also working to determine if there could have been more victims.
I want 100% guarantee that we don't have any predators in our school system, and that's something that we work very hard to do. But no system is 100% guaranteed. But right now, my effort is to ensure that parents understand that this is a number one concern of ours. We've heard what's happening. We're not, this is something where we have to go directly. We want to talk to parents and make sure that we assure them that we followed our procedures to address the needs.
Addressing needs so that everyone, he says, knows safety is their priority. Reporting for Guam's News Network, Guahusi Nick Delgado.
All right, Nick. Electronics, jewelry, money, credit cards, and even roosters. Pete Police arrested a man accused in multiple home and car burglaries reported throughout the island earlier this month. Joshua Tatautau has been charged with burglary, burglary to a motor vehicle, drug possession, and possession of a firearm without an ID, among other charges. The first of these 7 alleged incidents occurred at a home in Jotnia on April 3rd, while the last was a double car burglary reported on April the 16th in Talampago. It was during a traffic stop Tuesday that police were able to find the suspect along with some of these stolen items. Officers found a .22 caliber rifle as well as a glass pipe that had meth residue.
A fourth suspect is arrested in connection to this week's spice bust in Jigo and Harmon. Bersaman Hartman is charged with possession of a Schedule I controlled substance and possession with intent to deliver. Police executed another search warrant in Dededo when they ran into the suspect. Authorities found cash on him before the suspect later admitted to dealing the drug spice. As reported, Dolores John, Mariquita Simeon, and Banta Sarkozy face similar charges for their alleged part in the drug operation. Investigators then found more than $11,000 in cash, 469 grams of spice, and drug ledgers during that raid. Simeon and Cozy are being held on $10,000 cash, while John's bail is set at $8,000.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time one man led authorities in a chase, and Joshua John Untalan Mesa was arrested and charged in federal court for attempted possession with the intent to distribute methamphetamine and depredation to government property. Last week, the feds intercepted a package which contained 56 grams of ice and replaced it with a sham and beeper transmitter. When Mesa picked up the package this week, authorities followed him to a home in Salampago, where he gave chase into a nearby jungle. If his name does sound familiar to you, in 2016, Mesa led airport police on a high-speed chase from Teeds to Harmon, which ended in gunfire. Mesa sustained a gunshot wound to his lower back. Now, police found drugs, guns, and money during a search warrant over in Agana Heights on Wednesday. 42-year-old Enrique Guerrero and 52-year-old Kalajo Taidigui are each charged with possession of a Schedule II controlled substance and possession of the drug with intent to distribute. Guerrero is also charged with possession of a firearm without an ID, while Taidigui has also been charged with drug possession with the intent to distribute. Authorities found more than $3,300 in cash, 20 grams of marijuana, 1.5 grams of meth, and the drug commonly referred to as acid, a bolt-action rifle, and a pair of handguns.
Police arrested a 39-year-old Agana Heights man accused of dealing cocaine. Christopher Navarro Atta is charged with possession of a Schedule II controlled substance and possession of the drug with the intent to distribute. Investigators had been tipped off when they found the suspect's car in the parking lot of Totu Market. The Mandania Drug Task Force then found more than 13 grams of cocaine before making that arrest.
Now let's stay with the war on drugs now, as it's not the typical drugs we hear in the news, but important breed nonetheless.
That's right. The Saturday marks National Take Back Day, a biannual initiative to help residents properly dispose of their unused, unwanted, or expired prescription medications before they get into the wrong hands. Crystal Paco has a story.
Got prescription drugs? Your medicine cabinet is likely full of them, most of which are probably unused, unwanted, or expired. Rather than trash them or flush them down the toilet, which may be your first instinct, you can head over to one of 3 locations this Saturday, where the Drug Enforcement Administration will happily dispose of them for you.
National Take Back Day has been going on since 2010. It's a nationwide effort by DEA and the Office of Diversion to get the word out about unwanted and expired prescription medications that the public want to turn in because the level of abuse has risen, as we've seen.
According to Drug Enforcement Administration's Guam and Saipan resident agent in charge, Edward Talbot, trends show poppin' pills is in.
It is a growing and emerging threat, and it's here.
The problem with pills? They're so easily accessible, but not so easily disposed of.
It's also about child safety, right? I mean, these medications are stored at home, and oftentimes these kids today, as they're even smarter than they were many years ago, can get into these prescription bottles and have an accidental overdose.
Since the initiative's inception, 8.1 million pounds of prescription drugs have been collected nationally. Last year, Guam and the CNMI collections totaled 500 pounds.
An increase means what? Public awareness. And that's what we're striving to reach.
And in case you're wondering,
there's no questions asked. We just ask them to follow the guidelines. They can go to DEA.gov to learn more about the guidelines and about the national effort by DEA to get the word out.
The 3 locations here in Guam are the Agana Shopping Center, Naval Base Guam Exchange, and Anderson Air Force Base Exchange. The event is Saturday, April 28th. Collections start at 10 a.m. and close at 2. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Crystal Paco.
And before we go to break, we have a quick note for all of you. Those of you waiting for tax returns, Adelup announced that $13 million in tax refunds will be mailed out next Monday. The checks, totaling some $2,700 in all, are being processed and covers those who filed their returns by February the 4th.
Stay tuned, still to come right here on Primetime. Session heats up again as senators discuss a measure to rebuild Simon Sanchez High School.
And over in Tizen, students at that school questioned the gubernatorial candidates. We'll tell you why 2 of them did not participate.
There are more ways to experience KUAM News than any other source on Guam. Download the KUAM News app for your Apple or Android device for 24/7 news, sports, videos, weather, streaming of KUAM radio, and important news alerts. And stay connected at home with Guam's first app for Apple TV. All available now from the App Store.
Half the day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, welcome to Two Lovers Point.
Half a day, I'm in the club.
In this divided world, there are still things that unite us. Great music, thrilling games, and the love for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam, for the love of burgers menu. For a limited time, get an amazing burger for just $11.99. Lunchtime at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
There are more ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained, whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
Welcome back, everybody. The recent construction of a road in Barrigada Heights on Chamorro Land Trust property has taken quite the interesting twist. Now, not only is one of your lawmakers filed a Freedom of Information request, but another has come forward trying to clear the record.
Carmen Terlahi reports.
Department of Land Management Director Michael Borja admits a project in Barrigada Heights on Chamorro Land Trust property has hit a roadblock. The agency has been working with the Department of Public Works to clear access for lessees who were recently issued leases by the CLTC. But the project has since been halted. Matter of fact, the project had caught the attention of Senator Frank Uggan Jr., who FOIA'd the agency last week. According to Senator Uggan, residents in the area expressed concerns about the clearing causing flooding. But what's also caused concern is the issuance of the leases itself. The CLTC has long had a waiting list from Chamorros who have filed for leases as far back as 1995. Borja, however, says no one is jumping the line.
We weren't jumping the list to get to anybody and put anybody in here, all right? They were not. And that's been a very, very important thing on my part ever since I took this job over 4 years ago, is to make sure that these positions, that the fairness is always there.
KUAM has also learned one of those who received a lease for the Barrigada Heights property is Senator Regine Biscoe Lee. In a response to KUAM, the Democrat lawmaker explains that her mother filed an application with the CLTC in 1995. In October 2016, before she was elected, her mother was informed that her lease had been approved and gifted it to her for the benefit of her grandchildren, her 2 daughters. Quote, she says, I believe everyone has to play by the rules, especially when you hold a position of public trust. If any errors in this process occurred, I will rectify them immediately.
on the part of the senator, that individual did this and was well underway in doing all this work well prior to being elected into their position. And so, with the and every one of these people had 1995 applications.
Senator Lee also plans to ask both the OPA and the Attorney General's office to conduct a full review of the leases to ensure strict adherence to Guam law. Reporting for Guam News Network, I'm Carmen Victoria Terlahi.
Borja also questioned the FOIA because the road is a public utility access that was built a year ago. For the time being, DYA's Peter Alexis Ada also received an agricultural lot in Barrigada Heights. He says he applied for the lot in December of 1995.
Debate has wrapped up on a bill that shifts control over the long-delayed renovation of Simon Sanchez High School from Public Works to the Department of Education.
Nestor Locanto has our next story.
The effort to rebuild the more than 40-year-old school has been stalled by multiple bid protests and legal challenges. The bill by Senator Frank Uggan Jr. gives DOE authority over new procurement, but Senator Talina Nelson suggested the measure goes too far, prompting this exchange between her and Uggan.
Just for clarification from this end, from my vantage point, this is not changing the procurement law. As a matter of fact, there's been a few provisions incorporated in here that says in conformance with the procurement law.
Mr. Chair,
also,
I don't
see the conversation switching.
Mr. Chair, it's all over the news. It was this morning. The conversation is shifting. If you're not listening,
what conversation is shifting?
Actually, Mr. Chair, are you rolling? Are you facilitating this bill, or are you going to debate? Because if you're going to debate, then I recommend you remove yourself as the chair.
And so, per legislative rules, Uggan did step down to defend giving DOE Superintendent John Fernandez the authority over the Sanchez procurement.
There's been some comments that have been made over the last couple of days that is questioning the individual who is directly responding to us on this particular measure, who is saying, if you want to give it to DOE, then I'm willing to assume that responsibility in conformance with the procurement rules and regulations. That has always been his statement. I have every faith and confidence that Mr. Fernandez will be able to see this through based on the authorization and the flexibility that is given to him in Bill 204.
After 2 days of debate, the Uggan measure was moved to the third reading file, where it awaits a vote. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Locanto.
Now, students at Sanchez High have been quite vocal about the need to rebuild their campus. They'll hold a press conference tomorrow up in Jigo to discuss the measure.
From medicinal marijuana to the importance of voting, students at Tizan High question the candidates vying for a seat at Adelaide.
But only 3 of the 5 declared teams were able to make it this morning. KUAM's Nick Delgado was there and has more from the forum.
The Titans were ready, turning their gym into the venue for their gubernatorial forum, each candidate given the same 8 questions. One major issue: should teachers be armed in schools?
It is sad to be in an educational environment that's violent, but I do not agree and do not support teachers carrying guns. Teachers are there to teach you. Safety officers, policemen are there to protect you.
And I want to make sure that those seconds that matter is someone able to stop that shooter. First-person shooter, they don't discriminate. They shoot everybody. They're just there to cause havoc and death. We need to have a conversation about whether or not school resource officers should be equipped to be able to protect you in a way that is immediate. They have firearms, we don't.
I'm not necessarily for teachers being armed with guns. However, I support our SROs or SAOs to be able to arm them, or to any other peace officer who is properly trained to be able to protect our students. Our teachers are there to educate us. And so, there's other ways that I believe that our students can be protected, and those are the discussions that we need to have.
But notice that not everyone who declared their run for governor participated.
I want to apologize to the students of Tizan High School for not being present during the course of the forum. They put in so much effort and so much work into coordinating it.
Senator Uggan had to leave as his bill was being discussed on session floor. As for former Governor Carl Gutierrez, well, he says there was a conflict and was under the impression it was going to be a debate rather than a forum.
and then we come to know that the person that orchestrated all this event was an active Lou and Josh Millennials leader. I just said that if they want me to come and speak to them, I will. But it was just an event set up by an opposition strategy.
Both, however, still responding to the armed teachers question.
I would prefer to see our teachers armed with a lesson plan, with a pen and paper.
Not justified.
We all got cameras, on our phones, so I don't know why $1,000 you want to spend on the camera.
Castro countering that he has used his personal property for public work, documenting constituent issues and meeting with regional leaders.
Using my camera, my phone, my laptop, my chair from my house, is it really my responsibility to break out my iPhone and take a picture of it? Well,
To contrast, Senator Atta spent $2,789 on 6 chairs, a total of $465 per chair. It's clear senators are supposed to be standing up for the people, but they're doing a lot of sitting down on the job. San Augustine said if his colleagues must buy new furniture, they should look for items on sale.
I want them to explain why they spend that much.
That they will celebrate the opening of the permanent exhibit at the Guam Museum.
It's going to be a very good time. I actually love going to the Guam Micronesia Island Fair, and last year it emceed the opening ceremonies, and hopefully we can get you to co-MC.
Maybe.
Yeah, sports is next.
smartphone super sale event. Enjoy huge savings on our most popular Samsung Galaxy smartphones. But this offer won't last long. So drop into a GTA store today.
We're celebrating our 135th anniversary today, both in the outlying regions on which we hub and also here in Guam itself. It means so much to our team here in Guam. It means a lot to us in the Matson management team, because what it says is we're here to stay. It's a real physical manifestation of our commitment to this region. It's so important that we hire locally, we develop talent locally, we train locally. What's been a wonderful addition to our approach there is that many of the people who started off in Guam have gone off into significant leadership roles elsewhere in the company.
This is our headquarters here in Guam in Micronesia. And when we talk about putting down our roots, it's not just doing business, it's about everything we do with our friends, our customers, and our employees. I believe that nobody can replicate what we do, and that's why we have such a great team and such a great service and why we're successful. This is our home, this is our life, and we're happy to make a difference in everyone else's life.
Our mighty SUV mega sale is going on now at Cars Plus, and you're going to save big with cash back on every purchase. Get to Cars Plus and shop our great selection of Hyundai Santa Fe's, Tucsons, and the all-new Kona, Guam's most affordable SUV. Or our full line of Jeeps, like a new Jeep Renegade, save $6,000, or a new Jeep Cherokee, save $4,500, with rates as low as 1.99% APR for qualified buyers. It's Cars Plus, mighty SUV mega sale. Cars Plus, driven by you.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports, brought to you by Triple J. It's the last Thursday of the month, so let's check in with Chris Barnett for Gatorade Game Changer. Check it out.
Jude Cruz is on the hunt for redemption. The Teton High senior is an outside hitter for the Titans. His team is 10-1 in the IIAAG Boys Volleyball League, and they just dropped a big match to the Father Duenas Friars.
Losing to a powerhouse team like that shows us where our weaknesses are and what we need to fix. So losing to them wasn't as bad as it could have been, but we also didn't play to our full potential. Just always stay hungry. You never want to go down from a loss like that. You always want to go up from there. You don't want to settle for less. You always want to be able to play with no regrets.
Cruz and the Titans have steadily improved every year. With just a few games left in the regular season, they're looking to redeem themselves after a heartbreaking loss to the Harvest Eagles in last year's championship match. They've come a long way since Cruz's freshman year. When Tizen wasn't the team to beat, they were the team everyone beat.
We only won one game, and from there we just decided that we want more for ourselves, and we started to put in more work. We started to play a lot more.
Volleyball has been his most consistent sport through high school, but Cruz doesn't mind switching it up a little. He played hoops for the Titans in his sophomore year, grabbed a helmet and played football for Tizen in his junior year, and he's played soccer in 3 of his 4 years at the school. Cruz has had a promising start to his senior year. He was named the IIAAG preseason volleyball tournament MVP for outside hitter. And while individuals close this chapter with a happy ending, and that's what makes Jude Cruz a Gatorade game changer.
Guam's men's national 3-on-3 basketball team is in China, set to compete in the FIBA Asia 3-on-3 championships from April 27th to May 2nd. Leading our men's team is 3-on-3 standout Darren Hechanova, who is considered one of the best defenders from